Hi everyone, Jasmine here. So happy to be here for our May blogging Q&A. So, hi, I'm Jasmine. I've been blogging for the last 13 years now. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's been that long. I have two blogs, Blogging Money Life and Miss Millennium Magazine. And I like doing this monthly Q&A just to answer any questions you may have about blogging and just have a good conversation. So what I typically do, since I like answering the questions that are posted, which I see, Lurleen, you already have some questions added. We're going to get to those. I also like to share questions that people send me through my Facebook group, Bloggers Supporting Bloggers. If you're not in the group, I'm going to share the link with you here. I have a daily thread that goes out for bloggers, you guessed it. And every week I do have a Q&A posts as well. So I like to answer those questions during this monthly Q&A. So I'm going to answer those. I'm going to answer the questions that we have here and any questions that anyone shares in real time. And then I'm going to tell you guys about a topic that I think is very relevant. I mean, something that's been going on as of yesterday, because I like to share like what I'm hearing as far as like all the different blogging environments that I'm in and share what I know with you all. So once I get through questions today, I'm going to go through my topic for today. And that topic is the Google leaks. So I don't know if you guys have heard, but there was an internal leak from Google. And one thing we all know when it comes to Google is they are a locked box. Like they'll give us little tips here and there as far as like what you should do, what you shouldn't do, but no one really knows what Google is ranking. And especially lately, no one really knows because they made all these changes. If you do any search right now, the first thing that comes up is like Quora and Reddit as opposed to blog posts. So like a lot of people are seeing a drop in traffic because of this. So it is huge news that there has been a leak at Google sharing some things that Google has flat out lied to us about in the past when we've asked, or things that they've dismissed as not being factors for ranking higher in search. And I'm going to go through the highlights of what's in those files with you all today. So before I get to that, I want to start by addressing some of the questions that are already here. So let's start from the top here. First question. Thank you so much for doing these monthly chats. I love them and I so appreciate your time. Oh, thanks, Lurleen. I appreciate that. It's a good way to start this off. Is Pinterest working for you? I've decided this week that I'm going to spend my efforts on that. Yes, Pinterest is working for me. Pinterest has always worked for me. And I've said this, as soon as like people started spending more time with Google and Google was like up, everyone was talking about SEO and making sure you're ranking. And I was with them too. And then they're saying like, yeah, let's not spend any time on Pinterest because Pinterest made all these changes and it's not a good place for bloggers anymore. And the whole time I was there like, stay on Pinterest. I know it probably doesn't need to take up all your time right now, but it's still good to have it as a backup. It is another search engine that is very popular. And that has paid off for me. So your question is it working for you? Yes. And I'll tell you, I have two different blogs. One blog is getting, both my blogs, majority of our traffic was coming from Google search. And then all these changes happened with Google, and I have one blog that's barely getting any traffic anymore. And I have another blog that is still not getting as much traffic as it used to, but way more traffic than my other blog that was getting most of my traffic from Google. You know where that traffic is coming from? You guessed it, Pinterest. It is Pinterest. My top blogs on my site right now are not because of Google. They are because of the traffic I'm getting from Pinterest. So yes, I do think Pinterest is a place that everyone should be. I don't think it's a place where we're ever going to not be there, because when you really think about it, all Pinterest is blogs. It's only blogs. It's bloggers, it's content creators, and it's always been that. Now, I remember a point where Google was that as well for bloggers. but there's so many different players on Google now. There's so many corporations and websites and just a lot of competition. So not saying that we shouldn't do anything with Google. Absolutely, we should still be doing SEO, but Pinterest should always be a priority as well. So in regard to Pinterest, like something that I like to do is just make sure that when I'm publishing any new content on my website, I'm also sharing it on a board on Pinterest. I'm also making a point to one strategy that I have done that has worked with growing my own followers on Pinterest, because that does play a role in how many people are going to see pins that you pin to your actual account, is finding similar blogs that's similar to you and following their followers. So do that. I know there's a limit every day as far as like how many times you can do that on Pinterest. Do that until you get tired, and it's going to continue to grow. You get people you follow and they're going to follow you. So those are my two biggest strategies. There are other things you can do with Pinterest, obviously, but I feel like at bare minimum, that's something you should be doing. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, one moment and put the next one. Okay, have you tried Flipboard yet? I honestly don't think it's for me. It seems like so much work for a little reward, though they say it takes 6 months to see progress. I've not used Flipboard, and that is not something I'm going down that road either, as far as like starting to use it. I do think that there is a place for, what do you call it? I always forget what this terminology is called. Content. It's pretty much when you share your content on multiple platforms like Medium, Flipboard, Quora. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. But what I've seen in the past is if you are sharing the same article in other places, it kind of like waters down your content as far as like it being a reputable piece of content. So unless you're going to write new content for all these other platforms, it doesn't really make sense to do it. I mean, of course, you're going to have backlinks back to your site, which I think makes sense. But creating original content, and if you're going to go that route as far as like syndication, content syndication, that's what I'm talking about. If you're going to go the route of like creating new content to get backlinks back to your site, I think there are better strategies to do that. I think if you shoot for some of the big websites, you don't have to do as many backlinks instead of going for a bunch of small sites to do backlinks. So if your goal for Flipboard was to get more backlinks to your website, my suggestion would be to do some guest posts for the big ones. So thinking BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, I don't know, whatever the main big websites are for whatever niche you're in. I know there's a lot of finance websites if you're a finance site, food sites. A lot of those places are always looking for some type of guest writer. So I think that's a better strategy in regards to getting backlinks than using Quora and places like that. I know people who've done that strategy, but to your point, it is so much work. So I've never put in the time or committed the time to really seeing it as a strategy. So yeah, that's my thought. If you go with the big ones, I did like 4 of the big websites, and my domain authority shot up like really quickly. So I think that's a better route to go. How is your SEO course going? Good. I mentioned last month that I'm doing an SEO course for Nina Clapperton, and it's so good. What drew me to Nina is like, while everyone's traffic was dwindling because of the whole Google search changes, she was still seeing a lot of growth on her website, which I don't see a lot in this space. And then I also saw people in her Facebook group that were seeing growth for taking her course. Now, what I will say is that her course has led me down a bit of a technical rabbit hole. So I've gone as far as like, I've gone ahead and hired someone to help me with updating my website, because I was making changes to it and I had to hire someone to fix my Google Core Web Vitals because I didn't have a passing score, and he helped me with that. And he said, yeah, I mean, he couldn't even give me a passing score for one of my sites because there were so many like website changes that had to be made. So I've gone ahead and hired him to like make some adjustments from a design perspective to my site and how I'm thinking about some of these things as far as like making sure your site is going to rank well on Google. And the interesting part about this is some of the things that I've done to my site are some of the things that were mentioned in the Google leaks. So I'll jump more into that. Like, what are some of the things I'm changing on my site as I get to that part of our discussion today. Okay. Have you found alternative ways to generate traffic? I love your thoughts about all of this. Pinterest mostly. I still think I'm still getting traffic from Google, not as much as I was before. So I'm still getting traffic from there. I'm still getting traffic from Pinterest. Pinterest is a big one for me. If you have a YouTube channel, I'm getting traffic from my YouTube channel as well. Other social media channels, I know people who are doing well with Instagram. My site never really got a lot of traffic from Instagram, despite the fact that I had a lot of followers. So that hasn't really been a big traffic provider for me, but I get a lot of traffic mostly from those sources: Pinterest, Google search, and YouTube. And another benefit, what I do to get more traffic, I see a traffic spike every Wednesday on my site because I send out a weekly email saying, here's all the new blog posts that have been published on my site. So if you have an email list, which you probably should, if you don't have one, that's another way for you to make sure that you're getting some eyeballs on your content. So yeah, those are my main ways I'm going about generating traffic. But I'm putting most of my eggs in the organic search traffic because ever since I started getting more organic search traffic, it has changed everything about my blog. It's not just that there's an abundance of it. Like, a lot of people can come to your site from a search engine. It's the type of people you get from search, because I saw a lot more affiliate sales. Obviously, the more traffic you get, the more advertising dollars that you can make in that regard too. So I'm still a big fan of just search, which is why I'm mostly focused on YouTube, Pinterest, and Google as far as like how I get my traffic. Social media, other social media channels, I think the challenge with those, not saying that you shouldn't be working on social and that you shouldn't drive traffic from them. I think the issue with them is if I'm scrolling on Facebook, it's rare I'm going to click out of Facebook to read something or to buy something. I mean, it's not that it's unheard of. It's just not as likely of me buying something if I'm compared to me searching for something on Google and saying, which TV is better, this TV or that TV. I'm way more likely to buy something doing a Google search than I am scrolling on Instagram randomly, if that makes any sense. So that's how I look at it. If your main way to bring in bring in income with your blog is affiliate sales, or heck, even product sales, affiliate sales, product sales, or even advertising, I think search engine traffic is the way to go. Just find new search engines to get traffic. Do you know ways to make a blog unique and desirable? Aside from blog posts, I was thinking about giving away Starbucks gift cards. So the way I think about content marketing, and this is a concept that I have to tell because you guys know I'm a content strategy marketer. So I'm a director of content strategy for my day job. And something I have to tell my team that I work with is all content has a job. We're not just creating content for the sake of, oh, we need to publish something this week. Like, no, we're creating content because it has a job. What is the job for that piece of content? So what I would say is, if you're going to give away Starbucks gift cards, what's in it for you? And I know we don't like to think about that in regard to like, oh, I don't want to ask for money, or I don't want to like be a pushy used car salesman, but your content should have a job. Sometimes a blog post, the reason why you create it is so that you get email subscribers. Sometimes the blog post you create is so you can promote your product. Or a blog post can be created so that you can get some clicks on your affiliates. Every blog post should have a job. Sometimes that blog post is just to share more about yourself so that people can trust you more. But if you're going to give away Starbucks gift cards, make sure it's in your own favor. So I don't know if you want to, if you're going to do a giveaway of some kind, that could be a great opportunity for you to get more email subscribers. I used to do giveaways when I was really focused on growing my email list. If you use a tool called I think it's called King Sumo. It's free, and they allow you to do giveaways in exchange for people actually signing up for your email list. Okay, it was King Sumo. Now it's just AppSumo, FYI. But yeah, it's free. Here, I'm going to grab a link for it so you can have it here. But yeah, if you're going to give away Starbucks gift cards, just remember to ask, what's in it for me? And if you do that, then I think you'll be good. All right. So in regards to your other question, as far as how to make it unique and desirable, write good content that people are looking for. If you're writing the type of content that people are searching for, then you have a blog that's desirable. Some of the best blogs I've gone to is if it's related to a specific niche that I enjoy, and then you make sure your blog is sticky, meaning if I'm reading a blog post that says, this is how you go about driving traffic to your blog, and it starts giving me very specific information on how to drive traffic to my blog. And then in that article, it has something like, before you can drive traffic to your blog, make sure you have the blogging basics. Click this link here to read my article on the blogging basics. That is what a sticky blog is. The best blogs are the ones you start reading a post and you click a link so you can read that one later. And then you click a link so you can read that one later, because it's so like captivating to what you are looking for. So yeah, you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to pay to play in regard to like, I'm going to give people stuff that I, paid for out of my own pocket. Just provide good content for people and they will come through. And you want the people who want to know what you have to say in regards to what they may be looking for. This is why keyword research is so important before you write content. Because if no one is searching for the topic you're about to write about, who are you writing for? Yourself or for your audience? So just keep that in mind. Keyword research works not just to get traffic to your content, but to make sure you're writing for your audience. Would you recommend sponsorships right now? At least then I can start making some money. How do we go about getting sponsorships at blogs with little traffic? Man, I get this question so much and I love it because the amount of traffic you're getting, there's no amount of traffic you need to get to start doing sponsorships, if that makes sense. This is why I always say, if you want to make money with your blog right now, do sponsored posts. And that's how I got started. I went from, at the time with my blog, I didn't even have a content management system. I was hand coding everything and my blog looked like crap. But I knew who my audience was and I had someone reach out to me. And at that time I was making like 5 cents a month with Google AdSense. So someone reached out to me and they said, hey, if you write about this product on your blog, I'll pay you $50. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe people were really willing to pay me like $50 to write something and give me a free product. So yes, the only measurement you want to make sure you have before you start doing sponsored posts to bring in income is make sure you have your blogging basics down. What are your blogging basics? Do you have a contact us form on your website so people can contact you if they have questions or if they want to work with you? That's the first thing. 2, are you consistently publishing content on your website, whether that be once every 2 weeks, once a month, once every week, whatever? Can someone who's interested in working with you look at your blog and say, oh yeah, they're active? If they're looking at your blog and see that you haven't published in 3 months, you're not ready to start making money with sponsored posts. The third, do you have a media kit? A media kit that can lay out your just stats about your blog, who's your audience, like how many social media followers do you have? What platforms are you on? What are your skill sets? Things like that. What else? There's some other pages I think you need to have. A contact me page. You need to have an about me page so that people know who you are. Ideally, you want to title your about me page the niche for your blog plus the location where you're at. So for example, mine would be millennial lifestyle blogger in Costa Rica, so that you show up on search for that if people are searching for the type of blogger that you are. So yeah, if you have your blogging basics down, you are ready to start making money with sponsored posts. You can start pitching brands. You can start applying to sponsorships on different influencer networks. And yeah, I think you absolutely can do that, even if you don't get a lot of traffic. I can tell you right now, my traffic for my blogs have dwindled by like, I don't know, 60%. 60%. And I still just did a sponsored post. Let me see. I did a sponsored post for a blog last month, no, for a YouTube video for $500. And then I did another sponsorship for a blog post for $1,000. So it doesn't matter as much as you may think it does. Some brands, yes, they want to make sure that you have a certain amount of followers or visits on your website before they pay you. But if you have if you're professional, if you have your blogging basics in place, if you have a media kit, and you can make sure that you're hitting your deadlines, you're not missing any emails or anything like that, brands are willing to pay you, because there's professionalism in this field, but I feel like some people miss that you have to be a professional if you're going to be making money with sponsor posts, because you have to be able to work with other professionals. And people can sniff out if you're not a professional, if you don't have your ducks in a row. So good question. Good question. Okay, another question from Christina. Hello, thanks for doing these Q&As. I know a lot of bloggers' traffic has been hit by the latest Google update. Have you guys been impacted by the update? Is SEO still working for you? Good question. And I think I kind of alluded to that a little bit already. Yes, we've been impacted severely by these changes. At first, it was just one of my blogs. My other blog was still doing fine. Then it was my other blog, my blog that was doing fine at first, and the other one was doing fine. So like, I feel like I just been getting the 1-2 punch as far as like, this blog got hit, this blog got hit, both blogs got hit with every single change. And it's to the point where like, I barely have any organic traffic coming from Google right now. But what I will say is I'm still getting traffic from Pinterest. I'm still getting traffic from YouTube. Surprisingly, I'm still getting traffic from my Google web stories. My web stories are still getting some traffic for me. So yes, I know it looks very doom and gloom right now, but something that I think it's good to be mindful of whenever there's a big change like this. And I've seen it with Facebook, I've seen it with Pinterest, I've seen it with Twitter, is, keep a level head and make sure that you're spread evenly. If most of your traffic was coming from Google search, then it's time to find some other ways to get traffic to your site. In case, even if Google recovers, which I'm pretty sure it will, there's too much of like a backlash that they're receiving right now. Like, even just me looking at it from a search perspective, Google sucks right now. Like, I'm looking for an answer to a question. I don't want Quora. I don't want freaking Reddit. I need someone to explain to me in detail an answer to my problem. So just from a receiving side of things, I don't like it. I don't like what they've done. And I think they're going to have to make some changes. So, hang tight. And in the meantime, make sure that you are following whatever guidelines that may come out that's new, and diversifying the ways that you can drive traffic to your site. So good question, Christina. Yeah, I was thinking about emailing someone at Google to see how we can rank these days. Yeah, but they're known for being very elusive. And I'm on Mediavine, and Mediavine has been you should go to Mediavine's blog, because they have really good information on like what's happening with Google. I actually just went to a webinar that Mediavine put on the other day for people who are signed up for Mediavine. And they said, listen, if y'all keep complaining about Google, we know enough bloggers where we can go to Google and say, hey, all of our people are complaining, y'all need to do something. So they're already like taking steps to like kind of muscle Google in the right direction, because everyone's been impacted by this. So yes, I think that Google is aware that there are issues, and all we can do is follow whatever the latest guidelines have been for them to try to get back into their graces. Let's see. Man, we have some great questions tonight, guys. Do you know how to start developing relationships with writers? Because I eventually want to hire them full time when I start making money. I meet them on TikTok, and they are mostly college students. So I think there's two great places to find writers. The first is your audience. So when I wanted to find writers for my site, I just sent out a newsletter to my audience and said, hey, I'm looking for writers. Let me know if you're interested. Here are the details for the job. Keep me posted. I got so many responses. I had to turn off the page. I had to completely shut down the whole initiative for finding new writers because there were more people who responded than I could supply. So the chances are, if they're reading your blog, they are more than likely they already know what your voice sounds like. They know your niche and they know you. So they have a good idea of what type of content would be suitable for your blog. So that is the best place to start if you're trying to find writers. The next best place, I would say, is using some type of third-party tool like Upwork or Fiverr. I currently use Upwork and Fiverr. I think I've used Fiverr in the past, but right now I have one writer who I received from Upwork. So I think those are the best places. Honestly, your list and then just hiring them out from Upwork. Because if they have an account that says, hey, I'm a writer, here's my experience, I'm fluent in English, I have all these degrees, it's so much easier to find like who fits the criteria and the niche and everything that you need from there. So, great question. I was thinking Zoom calls, Starbucks gift cards. I don't know. I'm looking for other suggestions because it's mostly a virtual thing now. Okay, so this is referring back to your question in regard to like how to make your website more appealing. Honestly, I think it really depends on your audience. So a good question I got from someone the other day, they said, which is better? Should we do blog posts? Should I do video? Like, what do people engage with more? And my answer was like, what people are you talking about? Because me personally, I love reading. I rather read than watch a video. But there is a rare occasion where I am in the middle of a technical mess and I need someone to tell me and show me how to do something. And the only way I can get the answer is if I watch a video. I had to watch a video for that. So I think it really depends on your audience. Like, what do they like? Something I've heard from previous mentors in the past is when you're thinking about your own audience, usually your target audience is the person you were a few years ago. So think about yourself a few years ago. What were some of your challenges? Like, what were, for example, when you were reading content online, were you doing it at work? Were you doing it when you got off of work? Were you doing it on your commute somewhere? All those factors play a role in what type of content you should be creating and what's going to appeal to them. Same thing if you're going to do like Zoom calls. What's the best time to do that? And what are you teaching them? What type of information are you going to provide that'll be helpful for them? So if you want more suggestions, I think if you gave me a little bit more information about who your target audience is, then I can brainstorm a couple of things. But yeah, it really varies. It varies from niche to niche, person to person. The goal of Flipboard is to generate traffic. It's a huge trend right now. And in all of my blogging Facebook groups, they are turning on Flipboard instead of Google SEO. Oh, interesting. So I've not heard this as a strategy. I thought of it as like an opportunity to like build domain authority, but I'm curious. I'll check it out. It makes sense to me from that perspective because right now search engine is putting up the what do you call them? Like discussion boards. I haven't seen Flipboard come up in my search. I always see Quora first and then Reddit. And then, sometimes there's some other ones that come up as far as like a discussion board in the top of my search. But that's a good thought in regard to like figuring out who you want to like being on these type of platforms. The thing is, I would just be hesitant to like prioritize those things just because that's the way things are right now. We can have another Google update next month and it completely eliminate, all these discussion boards being on top of the search. So I think the method should be wait and see and just stick to what we already know when it comes to SEO. So good question. I mean, good feedback. I like that. Do you have Grayson? It's funny. I've worked with Grayson in the past. And I haven't for years now. I haven't worked with Grayson, but no, I actually, the person I'm working with, I found him on Fiverr to fix my Google Search Console deal. He did it pretty affordably. And he was like, I have this other service if you're interested. So I've been working with him on that. He's focused more from an SEO perspective and a user experience perspective. If you're interested, I'm happy to share his Fiverr link because he's great. He's great and he's pretty affordable. So let's see here. What we got next. How do I do an email list if I only have 200 page views a month? No biggie. So this is where I think social media is very helpful when it comes to building your email list. I'll tell you my strategy, tried and true. It works. People have been doing it for the longest amount of time and it still works. So the first thing, if you want someone's email address, you got to give them something. You can't just say, sign up for my newsletter on your website and expect people to sign up. What you need to do is create some freebies and nothing too crazy that takes like hours or weeks for you to develop, something that will be interesting to people that you can give away for free. So I'm thinking lists, if you can build like a quick calculator for something, maybe an exclusive video from you saying like, here are my top tips on how to do this thing, something you can give away in exchange for people's email addresses. Now, you can't just create it and expect them to come. You have to promote them. So if you have a strategy when it comes to promoting your blog content, like I do, like when I publish a blog post, I share it on Google Search Console. I post it on Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest. I share it in my Facebook group. What else did I do with it? I'm trying to think. I put it into my social media account so it can make sure that it's continuing to share and a rotation with my other content. Do that exact same thing for your lead magnets. So create a landing page for it, create some social media images for it, and make sure that it's being promoted on your social media channels on a regular basis. You're going to see your email list grow so fast every time. Every time. If you don't have a huge following on social media, I think another great place for you to share your freebies is in Facebook groups. Just make sure you understand what the rules are for those groups. Make sure the group is relevant to whatever your freebie is, because who doesn't want something that's free and it's going to help them? So that's what I would say. That's my strategy. It works really well. Check it out for yourself. Okay, so question from Christina. Would you recommend doing an email list with 900 sessions a month? I'm nervous about maintaining it and coming up with what to say in the emails. Do you answer a lot of emails a week? No, I don't answer a lot of emails a week. It's so funny. I remember having this exact same hesitancy when it came to starting an email list. In my opinion, I started way too late. If you have a blog, it's time for you to start an email list. Like your email list is one of the best assets you'll build for your business. So I can't underestimate that enough. It's a great opportunity for you to make sure you're getting traffic to your website, because all you have to do is email your list. And now you have all these people clicking on your links to your website. It's a great way for you to have an audience to promote your products to. You can promote your affiliate links to. Like, it's so beneficial to have an email list. So even if you can't commit to emailing them on a regular basis, there are so many other things you can do with your list to keep them active. So for example, I don't currently have a newsletter that I do on a weekly or monthly or anything basis. I have an automated email that I set up, a nice template that says, here are the new emails this week. And it goes out every single week to my email list. So I'm still touching them. It's not a personal touch, but they're getting information from me. And then of course, like if you're on my email list, you're getting emails every single month from me saying like, hey, here's my blogging Q&A. Are you going to join me? I'm here. Even if people don't come to the Q&As, they see that I'm alive. I'm a real person and I'm still actively talking about blogging, even if you don't want to come here. And that's enough. Like I'm showing up in people's inboxes. And if people don't want to get it, they will unsubscribe, which is also a benefit for me because honestly, I'm paying for my subscribers. And if you're not interested in like actually buying something from me eventually, or just like being active in my account, I don't want you there. So start the email list. Go ahead and do it. If you're looking for a good tool to use to do email marketing, I am the biggest fangirl when it comes to ConvertKit. ConvertKit is hands down the best email marketing tool out there. And I say that as a person who uses MailerLite as well. But what I will say is ConvertKit has recently made a change where your first 10,000 subscribers, you still have a free account with them for your first 10,000 subscribers, which is insane. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my affiliate link with y'all for ConvertKit. If you're interested, I just put it in the chat, and it is excellent. So yes, now's the time for you to create an email list, and you're going to thank yourself later on for having it, because it is a great asset. And then when you want to start doing sponsorships and things like that, even if you don't have a lot of followers on Facebook, even if you don't have a lot of traffic on your website, you can tell sponsors, I have this many people on my email list, and they're going to be like, sold. You can just do sponsorships just for your email list and you're golden. So it's an investment to put that time in and create those lead magnets. But honestly, my email list is one of the best things I could have done for my blog. And I think it could be the same way for you too. So good question. Another question. This one's from Kate Roski. Do you think the remote job blogging is actually a good niche? Remote job blogging. I know people are always looking for jobs. I just do not know if this is the best for my niche with blogging. What do you think? I'm not sure I'm aware of remote job blogging. So are you talking about like you have a blog that's about finding remote jobs, or is it talking about blogging as a remote job? Just so I'm clear. From my perspective, what I've heard is blogging is a very saturated niche in general, just talking about it. And I can speak from experience there. Like I have a blog about blogging, and like everyone's sick to death about it. So I balance it out by, I also talk about travel, which everyone loves to read and learn more about travel. So it's like a night and day difference as far as like how much traffic my travel content gets compared to my blogging content. So if it's about blogging, I would say yes, it's very saturated. I wouldn't want to do it. Remote jobs though, like you're talking more about a career blog, I think that can be very beneficial. I think there's a lot of information that people don't know about. I think there's some really good affiliate programs out there for career bloggers, and everyone wants a remote job. If you can like, there's a lot of affiliate programs for like getting people to embed like search engines that have remote jobs on your website. Golden. I think this could be a really good niche if you're talking more about remote. Aha, so you confirm, yes, find remote jobs that are hiring. I think that's a great niche. I think it's a really good niche for you to be in. There's one affiliate that I promoted before for my blog, and I use it because I promoted them because I like them a lot, because I've used them, and it's called Pathrise. And they're not an affiliate program, it's more of like a referral program. But what they do is they mentor people to get their next dream job. And they're really good at just like, if you're job searching, for example, they'll have a mentor for you where you can meet one-on-one every week. They'll fix your resume, they fix your LinkedIn profile. What else do they do? They have webinars and different things that they do for you, but probably their biggest benefit is that they will help you negotiate your salary when you get a job offer. So I use them to get my current job and the job before that, and like hands down some of the best money I've ever spent. But I recommend them because I'm still a member for them, even though like I've already paid for it and everything. But they have a referral program where anyone who signs up through my referral link, I get paid $300. So I think it's a pretty good program. Actually, like a dummy, I put in just their website when I could just be putting in my affiliate link. So let me just edit that. So here's my affiliate link for them if you want to check them out. But I think that it's a really good program for your blog. So I think looking for platforms like this can be very beneficial for a blog like yours because, yeah, if you made $300 for every person you refer to Pathrise, like I've already been paid from people I just refer just personally because I love them so much as an organization. I think there's a lot of good affiliate programs in that niche. So yes, good question. Next question. But where do we find the brands to work with for sponsored posts? Good question. A couple of places. So the first, I would say influencer networks. If you don't know, one of my freebies that I give away on my website is a list of over 100 different influencer networks that you can sign up for so that you can get paid. So 1 second, I'm going to grab it for you and put it in the chat so you have it. Because I'm such a big fan of like people making money with influencer networks because it just makes sense. Let me see, or with sponsored posts because you don't need to have a bunch of traffic. You don't have to have been blogging for a long time. You just have to be a professional blogger. That's the link. If you go there, it's my list of over 150 influencer networks, and you can sign up for them and get paid for different sponsored posts. The other place you can find sponsorship opportunities is pitching them yourself. So think about brands that you either work with yourself that are relevant to your niche and send them an email. Or you can think about brands that you just want to work with because they seem like an interesting niche that could do well for your brand. So yeah, I think when you pitch brands, you have a better opportunity to make more money because when you do go through the influencer networks, they usually have a budget. So say, oh yeah, we're paying $300 for a blog post for this. When the reality is for your blog, you probably should be getting paid more like $600. So when you pitch a brand, there's just a higher likelihood of you making more money. For those 2 sponsorships I just told you about, those are from brands coming to me, as opposed to me applying for them on influencer networks. So I think those are the 2 best places where you can go to find different sponsorship opportunities. Let me say, yeah, I'm wondering if it's worth it to pay for Rank IQ. I mean, I pay $50 a month and I could be putting that in my investing account. Yeah, I understand that. What I will say about Rank IQ, because when I first signed up for it, it was like holy grail. Like I would write a blog post and like I can almost count down 2 weeks later, that post is going to be one of my top 10 articles, at least for a period of time, because Rank IQ does a good job with keywords. But that has become more difficult as we've had these changes with Google. But something I will say is I just recently went through my top blog posts of all time on my older blog, and I'm just updating content. And believe it or not, I've had blog posts that I published last month or this month on my list of top blog posts of all time, which is shocking because we're in the middle of this Google crisis, right? And honestly, I didn't even notice it because I'm still getting more traffic from Pinterest. So these articles that are getting higher, they're getting more traffic from Google or just lower in my, I guess, overall website traffic. So all that to say, don't sleep on Rank IQ. I know it seems like, oh, well, they're not really doing much because Google's not doing well, blah, 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 blah. I still say it's a worthwhile investment. You're paying $50. One thing I will tell you, and this is not accessible for anyone who is not actively paying for Rank IQ, you can pay for a smaller account for Rank IQ. So I don't pay $50 a month. I pay $25 or $29 a month for Rank IQ. And it's to get, how many is it? I get 8. I get 8 of the, what do you call them? Searches a month. So if you write them, send them an email and say, hey, I want to downgrade my account, you should be able to do that and pay $29 a month instead of $50 a month, especially if you're not using all of your searches for the month. Hopefully that helps. Everybody says, thanks for answering all my questions. Great. Yeah, find remote jobs that are hiring. Okay, we answered that. Fang eggs. What are your thoughts on Shrek? Not relevant, so not going to talk about that. All right, let's see what else we have here. All right, so I think a lot of this is just spam. So yeah, and we have 13 minutes left. So I want to spend that time talking through some of the things that had came up in the Google leaks. So there's a really great Facebook group I'm in right now that I want to share with you guys. It's called Quick SEO Tips, Actionable Advice for Content Creators and Small Businesses. I'm going to share the link here to this post because I love being in different Facebook groups with other bloggers. It's a really great way to learn. And this is a post by Paula Rollo. I'm just going to give the highlights of what she talked about from the links, from the Google leaks. So big things to be aware of that we didn't know. And this is important when it comes to what to do with your SEO right now so that you get more traffic. The first is clicks. You want to make sure you're paying attention to your click-through rate. So for example, if you're ranking for a keyword and you're getting like, I don't know, 10,000 impressions, but you're only getting like 10 people who click through to your content, that is not good. You're going to be ranked lower from Google because of that. So that's something that was leaked. Let's see here. They do pay attention to site authority. There was a point where Google had their own, they called it page authority. And they said, oh, we don't track that anymore. And people don't even pay attention to page authority anymore because Google said that's not something they're looking at. Turns out they are. And they may not have their own authority metric anymore. But I think what people mostly look at now is domain authority. So making sure that you're paying attention to growing your domain authority is a factor. And you want to make sure that you're continuing to grow that. So that's important. Authors. So this one was a highlight for me. And I talked about this earlier, how I have a guy who's working on my website. This is something I've been doing wrong for a long time and I'm working to fix it. Authors. So if you have a blog where you have multiple people posting on your blog, something important that you want to make sure that you're doing is you're notating who the author is on the blog post. And that author, you should be able to click on their name and it takes you to a page that describes a bio from that author. I had this initially when I started blogging, over a decade ago. And at that time, they're like, why are you adding extra pages to your site for no reason? And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is not what we're doing. So I turned it off. And now it turns out that this is a way for people to see the authenticity of your content. So even if you're the only person who's writing content on your website, you still need to have, this was written by your name. And when people click on your name, it takes them to a page that talks about you. Now, that can go to your About You page specifically, not an About My Blog page or my company. An About You page should be helpful, but that's a big factor at what Google's looking at. If you don't have authors on your website, they're like, is this a legitimate site or is this a spam site? So that's another factor. Your post title is important, but we already knew that. You want to make sure that you're including your keyword in your post title that you're trying to focus on. Staying on topic. So this is a big one because there's a lot of bloggers who and I think everyone makes this mistake when they start blogging. They're like, oh, I'm gonna have a travel blog. But then you start posting about recipes and you're posting about pets and oh, I went to the market the other day. If you can stay on topic with the niche that you chose, that's another factor Google's looking at as far as you showing up in Google search. So yeah, Chrome. So they said they didn't look at Chrome data in the past. They do look at Chrome data. Another thing is external links. So they say it's important to have diverse external links to your website, which I didn't think this was all that surprising because I thought that's always been the case. By diverse, that means you want to have a .com website to your site. You want to have a .edu website to your site. You want to have all the different dots. If you can have a variety of different websites that are linking back to your site, that really helps with increasing your domain authority and making it so that you come up higher in search engines. So yeah, that's that. Make you lose right if your site is hard. Okay, so demotions. So they talked about some of the things that could get your site demoted. So you can lose rank if your site is hard to navigate. So having a good user experience. Again, I have an SEO guy who's also like a designer. He's like, listen, your website homepage is what's killing you. If you have a hard to navigate homepage, that could be demoting your website. You shouldn't have to educate your reader on how to use your website. It should be easy for them and for a Google bot to search your site and know where to go. Let's see here. Internal links. So they're tracking if you do this is something that people used to do all the time, but you're not supposed to do it anymore. If you're doing a hyperlink within your content, you don't have to bold those words to the link. Actually, it's frowned upon if you do every single link is bolded. So that's something that they say you don't want to do. If you need to do it strategically, occasionally, that's fine, but you don't want to do it all the time. Dates. This is something else that I've heard in the past that, oh, just remove dates and then your content's evergreen. No, you want to have dates on your content. You want to make sure it's front and center. Here's the date that this was published. And yeah, it should be displayed so that people can see like when it was actually published. So that's something else. Small personal site classifier. We don't know what it means. So yeah, and there's also a small personal site classifier. So they're saying that if you have a small site, you're automatically being demoted or just like having like some negative things about it, but we don't know exactly what it is. So don't take that with a grain of salt. I don't think that's anything you can really do about it. But there's been some really interesting articles coming out lately, especially I saw one that talked about a scheme that's pretty much like, hey, this whole thing is so that Google can get paid more money from the big creators, like, I don't know, a Good Housekeeping, the places that used to be magazines and now they have websites and they're showing up on search first. And then you have like the, what do you call them? The discussion boards. And then you have the content that used to be ranking number 1 after that, usually after number 10 in your search. So there's a lot of like weird things happening with Google, a lot of theories on like things that they're doing that don't make any sense in regard to like people being able to find the things that they're actually looking for when they do a search. And I'm just keeping an eye out to see what happens with all of this stuff as it happens. But all that to say, keep your ears open, keep your eyes open. Don't make any huge changes yet. A lot of the changes I'm making on my site are things that Google have been saying for like the last couple of years. So I'm just overdue for changing a lot of the stuff on my site. Don't take that as like, oh, I need to make all these changes on my site. But yeah, just keep your ears open. And I say stick to a lot of the SEO things that have been told to us. Out of all these things on here, nothing really surprised me. I heard it at one point or another. Some of these things like were the thing to do and they're not anymore. So it's just a matter of making sure you're keeping up with the changes when it comes to Google. So that's all I got. Thank you guys for bringing such amazing questions. I really appreciate all the attentiveness and just the amount of like thought I can tell that you guys are putting into these questions. Like I can tell y'all are very sophisticated bloggers. So thanks for joining me and having this conversation with me. Again, I do this the last Wednesday of every month. So I'll see y'all next month, same time. And yeah, just have a good time blogging out there. If you have more questions for me that may come up, feel free to send me an email. I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat here. Here we go. Boom. So yeah, feel free to send me an email and I will see y'all there. In the meantime, talk to y'all next month. Bye.